But nobody wanted a rerun of the Civil War, which had ended 20 years before. During his trial, Orkah was sentenced to death, along with 41 of his co-plotters. He had asked Southerners to react against so-called corruption and indiscipline. But most of them seemed to be pinning their hopes on the handover begun by Babangida, not on coup attempts against him. Even as the trial continued, commentators believed the coup's failure had strengthened the move to democracy and Babangida's authority.
The coup is sad because actually Babangida has set up a motion, set up all guidelines that he is ready to hand over. For somebody now to come out and say he wants to throw his administration down is impossible. We were sad when we heard about it because they were trying to create confusion more to the country by saying that they have divided the country, they have removed some states out of this country. That is a sad event. Nigeria is one and it will continue to be one.
And yet, there was one task on the horizon which might still reignite all the old tensions: the census, set for November 1991. There was a lot of preparation. A special commission had recruited and trained field workers. This concern with the census was a sign of the fears that surrounded it, fears that stemmed from the past. Previous attempts to count the population had set off trouble between North and South. The problem was, the more people in an area, the more money it got from government, and the more top jobs its officials held. But this time, census workers didn't ask about ethnic origin. After the count, they found that Nigeria had 88.5 million people. Inevitably, a few contested this figure. It seemed lower than UN and World Bank estimates. It didn't tally with the previous electoral roll, and it meant there were more men than women. Overall, with fewer than expected people sharing the nation's wealth, it had the effect of making Nigerians seem better off, and that in turn could mean they'll get less foreign aid. But this was a peaceful debate. Most Nigerians accepted the result. So, a failed regional coup that didn't get support, a successful census that did. For many observers, there were signs that Nigeria's ethnic tensions were fading. But there remained stubborn obstacles to the transition, profoundly rooted in the whole business of what politics had become. The problem was people simply didn't trust politicians. Even before campaigning started for the local government elections, there had been fears about fraud and rigging. Voters remember the bitterly contested election results of the First and Second Republics. Never again, said the experts at the Electoral Commission, but even the solution of an open ballot provoked debate. Critics said that if voters chose publicly, they might be intimidated or bribed. Supporters of the system asked, how else could you prevent tampering with ballot boxes or fraud during the count?
It does disenfranchise especially leaders of opinion who are hesitant to have people in their communities knowing on which side they lie. And on the upside, it's much less expensive. It's a bit easier to run. So there are some reasons, and once again, back to the vastness of the Nigerian process and 220 polling centers, whatever you can do to simplify the process is certainly attractive, especially to the NEC.